Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How you guys going out there? It's not too far from round one now, so we're getting stuck right into it, and I just thought I'd give you a little update on my team. This is why I take so long to pick a team, because once it's there in front of me, I just start tinkering like an absolute psycho. I find it very difficult to not. Now, thanks to everyone who's jumped on board. I'm getting close to 3,000 subs, which has been, a goal of mine for probably a couple of years. It's not all about the subscribers and the views, but I do really appreciate everyone who does jump on board. And yeah, thanks for your comments and your support throughout the pre-season. We're getting really close now to the first bounce, so there might not be a little bit of footy for a few days now, but there'll certainly still be plenty of videos. So thanks again for anyone who's tuning in at the moment. Now, I'm just going to show you what my team probably roughly would have looked like last time we spoke, and it's not how it looks now. Like I said, I've done some tinkering, and I just thought it'd be good to. It's not exactly what it was, because a lot of rookies has changed, and I just quickly before doing that doing this video, I thought I'll just try and flick it back a little bit to what it was like, just to kind of show you the changes that I have made. So my initial thinking and my main thoughts were Bruce had to go, and this was before he got suspended. So I'll just roughly sort of work my way through the process. So it was pretty much that, and I know that Witts was okay, but I'm probably was more inclined to get rid of him. Now, I've also made a few changes to the forward line. I've ditched Rayner. Now, you would have seen, I would have loved to have seen him play. Obviously, he had some personal circumstances that didn't allow him to. I would have just loved to see a little bit more, really convince us. And I didn't see what I wanted to see from Weller either. He scored okay from what he did. The ball wasn't down their stacks at times as Gold Coast beat up on the Cats. But I lost a little bit of faith in the role. And off the back of that, I brought in Brody. And I also brought in Hugo Ralph-Smith. Now, that is a couple of changes that I did make. And then, like I mentioned, I thought let's just keep it nice and simple with Maxi Gawn up there. So that was a little bit of the development to the team that I made. I also went and thought I really want to get McRae into the team. I appreciate all your comments and feedback, because a lot of your feedback was about, Shorty, you got to get McRae. You really should set and forget your ruck. So I was like, yeah, fair enough. I've made mistakes over the time. Probably best that I listen to a few people out there. So now, one thing that also happened was Isaac Heaney didn't exactly play the role I wanted. Now, I know Papley and Franklin were out, but I just got a little bit nervous. I know they were out, but equally, they could be out at any time, any moment. Papley's going to be out for a while. Mills only played a half, and I know Heaney played great, but you guys know how much I love the guy. He just made me nervous. Now, I also saw the performance of Ward and thought, well, he's got to jump in there. So I chucked him in there. I was pretty comfortable with the back line. I want to try and find a way to get Jaden Short into the team. Now, I was concerned with my defensive rookies. Now, I watched Mitch Hinge, and I was really pleased with him. And I also felt like Rochelle was a must. And I just sort of thought, I've got to try and find a way to get McRae into this team. Now, this is me roughly recapping what I did do, but I got a little nervous on Heaney, and I thought, well, Rochelle, you don't want to miss that boat with how well he's going. And then I thought, well, let's just waltz over to the midfield, and we can just bring in McRae. I love Petrarca, I really do, but a lot of times I've missed out on some of the big guns, and I thought, well, I'm not going to do that this time around. And then I thought, look, we'll bring in Hinge. So that's what we did, and I'm pretty sure, let me just sort of recap, but I'm pretty confident that's pretty much the team that I looked at 10 minutes ago before filming this. Yeah, so hopefully you guys didn't mind the way I rolled that one out. Hopefully you didn't log on into this video and go, shit, Shorty's barely made a change. He's still rocking Lockie Weller. He's still going to go with Braden Bruce, for God's sake. We've got 100k there, but look, at the moment, I really felt like the back line had to be bolstered, and I thought Hinge You know, didn't set the world on fire with his scoring or anything like that, but I just really like his position and his role. I really enjoyed that. Boyd is just a bit of a placeholder. And look, much the same with these guys in the midfield bench, but I think Ward, Dacos, Horne-Francis, you know, all made themselves so good options for round one. And I just wanted to back in the big guns. McRae, Oliver, Steele, Gawn, Grundy. You know, I've often started the season slow because I haven't had some of the absolute big dogs, and they're just hard to get your hands on. So that's why I've really tried to start with Lloyd and start with Crisp and start with Dunkley. You know, this forward line potentially could come unstuck. I will admit that. It bats not too deep, but for a starting squad, there is more value at the 200,000 mark in the forward line with Cornelio, with Brody, with Ralph Smith. Some people are even liking Tristan Cherry. Rochelli's not far off the pace, just under 200k. So I felt like you've got to come up short somewhere. You know, we can't spread that $1 million too deep. It is what it is. So I just thought we've got to go a few more premiums down back, get a slightly overpriced rookie in Hinge, and I think that I'm really pleased with that midfield. Dill Stevens, we'll see how he goes, but lock and load those rucks. You know, Sean Darcy was okay for a return, but Gawn just locked himself into the team the way he played. And then, yeah, I didn't like parting ways with Heaney. I was really optimistic on him. But I just kind of think, well, look, with Papley out and the constant threat of him potentially playing a key role forward, that was enough to just make me nervous. If he comes out and dominates the first 5 to 6 weeks, I'll be pumped for him, and I'll be able to get him at some stage in the year. But I just thought there's no point starting a team with a slight query. Gee, I hope he doesn't play forward, you know what I mean? I really needed to see him play midfield. I know the circumstances weren't suiting him to do that without Buddy and without Papley, but I just needed to be convinced. I needed to see it. I didn't. He was probably never going to get that chance given the circumstances, but Brody, I'm pretty optimistic on. I've been taking a little while to come around to him. Would have loved to see how he went with Fife in the team, but they seem to love him in that centre bounce tackling machine. And look, Cornelio's probably even going better than we thought. And Ralph Smith looks to be a real good, easy contributor off half back for the Tigers. And look, I'll be interested to see what I do with that extra 100k. For now, I'm just sort of leaving it in my pocket if I need to upgrade some rookies. You know, reach a little higher with maybe Josh Sin or, you know, whoever might pop their head up. Gibcus or Josh Gibcus, is that how you say his name? Or even there's potential if I really want to get Jaden Short, I could go Sicily to Short. So that's what I've done. That's my team. I'd love your thoughts. I'd love to hear how you guys are travelling as well with your selection, as we're only 7 or 8 days away, depending when I post it. But I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.